Hey, beautiful souls. Let's chat about one of my most favorite topics in the whole world, and that is self-love. Hello, my name is Dee. If you haven't already met me, I am Dee May, and I'm so happy that you joined me today for this topic of discussion because it is super important to me. It is just something that I feel is the foundation of everything. And I know a lot of people think that having an amazing amount of unshakable self-love means that you're a narcissist or you're in some way being selfish or many other adjectives, adverbs, all of the things that have been used to describe it. However, in reality, when you have an unshakable self-love, it enables you to act, react, interact with yourself and others in such a beautiful way. I mean, it's absolutely incredible the way it changes things in your life. And when self love is pure and comes from a beautiful space, it's not an arrogance. It's not, and it goes beyond even confidence. Confidence comes along with having self love, but it's deeper than that. And it's definitely not anything narcissistic or nefarious in any other kind of way that some people like to describe it. So I want to dive deep into this topic today because it means so much to me. I know I just said that, but it truly is such a transformational thing. Oh, how do y'all like my new cup? Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I just got this from a lady at the flea market I'm exchanging. Okay. Anyway, I know that's a little off topic, or maybe it's not because I love me. So I decided, hey, I should have this beautiful cup. And it's not always about retail therapy because actually this is a barter exchange that I made with this lady. But sometimes it's just about us giving ourselves something that we know we're going to love and enjoy. And it can be something as simple as something we drink our ice water out of every day, right? So I do a 12-week self 12 pillars of self-love journey. And I created this course because I feel like it's such a foundational piece and it takes time to learn it. It would be so nice if we could just flip a switch and just have the self-love just magically appear in our life one day and be unshakable from that moment forward. However, it doesn't work that way. And one of the things before I dive into some of these topics that I go over in my masterclass and my course is there is a huge difference in liking yourself and loving yourself. Because for a lot of years, and I mean decades, I thought I loved myself, but I actually only liked myself. And the reason I know that is because there are things in my life today that are so beautiful that I didn't love myself enough to allow in those previous years. And there are things that I disallow in my life that I did allow in the previous years when I was only liking myself and not truly, truly loving myself. So that is a huge shift that happens, and it doesn't have to be forced. It's something that happens automatically as you journey deeper and deeper into loving yourself. One thing I would like to say is that when you first start this self love journey and you're shifting the way you talk to yourself and the way you think about yourself and putting up boundaries, it is so freaking weird, y'all. It is so strange and unusual, and it feels very uncomfortable and awkward. And you're like, this is just so crazy. Like it feels like it almost feels like when you're in those awkward teenage years and you're just sure everybody just thinks you're like this gangly, awkward person, it kind of feels like that a little bit. And the fun thing is that when we keep going with it, when we keep complimenting ourselves and we keep acknowledging ourselves for the things that we've done and owning the things that we've gone through and giving ourselves so much grace, it gets easier and it gets fun. And then you start saying it with this whole different energy. Like, yeah, that's right. I'm amazing. It's not my fault that not everyone can see that. And the beautiful thing about that is that everyone is amazing. Like, you're not saying you're amazing and you're the only amazing person in the world, right? You're saying you're amazing. Your friend can be amazing too, and your coworker can also be amazing. And none of you are detracting or diminishing the other person. You get to be amazing in your own fabulous way. And that is the beautiful thing that comes with that deep, unshakable self love. So let's dive in a little bit into some of these things. I'm not going to go over all the pillars with you because that would take me an hour to do. And that's if I'm talking fast and just cramming it in here. So let's just talk about some things. One of the things I feel is really important, and I have this as my second pillar, is curiosity and awareness. So getting curious about the way you feel about yourself right now in this moment. If you're at the beginning of your journey, just explore that. Don't judge it. Don't like get down on yourself about any of it. Just look at it with a curious mind and go, where did that come from? Like, why do I feel that way about myself? Where along my journey did someone say something to me or do something to me or an experience you may have had that caused you to feel that way? Just begin getting curious about it. Because when you get curious about it, then you have these aha moments where you figure out a little bit about where these things have come from and where they've been instilled in you. And then that awareness is what allows you to dive deeper into that and begin to shift it into something completely different. And that is changing your beliefs, right? Changing your beliefs about those things that you've been thinking, believing, knowing about yourself. We like to say, oh, well, that's just the way I've always done things, and that's the way it's always been, and that's the way my life always goes. What if it didn't have to do? What if it didn't have to go that way? What if now it could be different from this moment forward? So we get to change our beliefs about things. So I'm going to skip ahead to what I have in pillar 5 is self-care. I'm just going to go on about this for just a minute. Self-care looks different for everyone. Everyone has something that they enjoy, and allowing ourselves to participate in those things we enjoy is self-care, right? If that's knitting, if that's painting, if that's making wire trees, that's one of the things I love to do. Meditating, yoga, walking in nature, sitting outside in the hot tub, looking at the stars. That's why my hair's wet right now. So that's just any of that can be self-care. Writing, talking to your friend on the phone, as long as you're not having a negative bash session and falling into this chaotic energy, as long as that's peaceful and is resolving something in some way, or just allowing you to just have that communication with someone. You know what I mean? That deep communication where you're just not really, you don't have to even really talk about anything important. You're just connecting, that kind of thing, right? So any of that can be self-care. One of the things also that I love to talk about in this course, and self-love is so important. Stop explaining yourself. We humans think that we have to justify things that we do or don't do to whomever it may be. And the fact of the matter is, 99.9% of the time, that is not necessary. And all it does is create stuff that it doesn't even need to create, that you don't even need to have in your life. Sometimes it's just, thank you for the invitation. I have other plans. It doesn't matter what your other plans are. Your other plans could be getting in your PJs early and going to bed early, or getting in your PJs early and staying up watching your favorite sitcom or whatever it is. It could be hanging out with your dogs. It could be whatever. It doesn't matter. It could be nothing. You just have that planned. You have that time to yourself planned. So you can say no, and you don't have to explain why. So, and one of the things I'm going to go ahead and stick in here too is when with the explaining yourself thing is People are going to believe what they choose to believe, no matter what you say anyway. The only person whose beliefs you can do anything about at all are yours. So sometimes, and it doesn't always feel good, but sometimes us knowing the truth, we need to allow it to be enough that we know the truth. Because when we get so caught up in convincing other people to see it the way we see it, or that it is the way it is in our life, or whatever that is, they're just going to turn around and walk away from us and they're going to believe whatever they want to anyway. So allow you knowing to be enough. Just, I invite you to allow that because it's so liberating. Practice gratitude. Practicing gratitude is a huge part of loving yourself. And you may not have thought of it that way, but having gratitude for the things that you've done in your life, the things that you're capable of doing, the things that you can learn to do, that you're smart enough to learn to do new things and explore different avenues of work, career, play, whatever it is, just allowing yourself to find gratitude in that. And because the more we're thankful for what we have and what we can do and the beautiful things about ourselves, then the more of that is going to come in, the more of it's going to open up and we're going to see it. And then we get even more stuff to appreciate. It's absolutely fabulous. It gets to be so much fun the more you practice it. Um, Find a self-love mentor. That is one thing that's really, really cool. Now, this doesn't have to be someone that's a coach that you're actually signed in contract with and that you're paying. It can be as simple as a podcaster that you really enjoy watching that you feel is a great role model for you that embodies the kind of self-love within themselves that you are creating within yourself at this beginning of your journey or middle of your journey or wherever you are on your journey, because these reminders are always nice to have. Been studying this stuff and working on this for a long, long time now. And I still need reminders sometimes because we have that human factor that makes us doubt things sometimes, that makes us fearful that maybe we're not quite enough. Imposter syndrome likes to sneak in there. And what imposter syndrome says is that we're not quite enough, right? You're not quite enough. You're not quite smart enough. You're not quite pretty enough. You're not quite skinny enough or tall enough or short enough or whatever the case may be. You're not quite young enough or old enough or whatever. I mean, these things just creep in, right? So finding someone to look up to and listen to that embodies the type of self-love you're creating in your life is super important. And that person may change. That's one thing I would like to have you consider is that that person may change over time as your journey continues and you evolve into a new energy and a new person, because that's what happens. And just find someone else that you enjoy listening to. It's very beautiful. I already talked about acknowledging your accomplishments. So accept yourself. And this is a really huge one. Accept yourself. And how do we do this? Well, you begin by not telling yourself that you can't. Can is one of those nefarious little words that likes to slip in. We use it so often that we don't even realize we're saying it. And the fact of the matter is, it's very counterproductive to use the word can't. Because, my dad always said, can't never could do nothing. And then Henry Ford says, whether you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you're right. So it's a choice that we get to make in how we believe about ourselves and how we, accept ourselves. And curiosity is something else we can get into right here. So, we can ask ourselves, you know, like, is that true about me? Do I get to believe that about myself? Is it something good? If it's not something good, then do you have to accept it? You don't. You don't. You know yourself better than anybody. You know what's true about you. and you get to accept those beautiful and wonderful things about yourself. Give yourself permission to like yourself. Give yourself permission to love yourself. Put reminders on your phone, like make it your screensaver, and know that there's absolutely every single beautiful thing about loving yourself in such a profound way. And it really does shift everything. I mean, my relationships are so different than they used to be. I've done so much inner work and worked on this self-love thing, and it is a process. Like I said, it's not a light switch flipping kind of thing, but it is a beautiful thing. And the more you practice it and the more you get into it and the more you encourage yourself and realize that you are so amazing and you are so worthy and you are freaking enough. You are abundantly enough right now in this moment, just as you are. And that is a great place to build on. It truly is. And then we just get to deepen that self-love and we get to start enjoying more things that we like to do, right? And we get to set healthy boundaries and we get to start, one of the things that I've noticed within my own life is that I nourish my body differently now. I used to eat like crap food from fast food restaurants and I would drink carbonated beverages and things like that, and it wasn't good for me. And nobody told me, hey D, you gotta stop drinking soda if you're in love with yourself. That never happened, and I never even really thought about it. It's just something that naturally evolved into, man, I have ice water all the time, you know that's what I choose to drink. And we have well water, so it doesn't even have all those crappy fluoride chemicals in it. So these are easy shifts that we can make and that just happen naturally. They just happen naturally as your self-love deepens because you realize you're worthy of taking better care of yourself. You're like, oh, this is the body that I get to walk around in on this planet until I hit the dirt. So let me take care of it because I love myself. And I get to nurture that and take care of that in such a beautiful way. So there's so much about self-love that we could get into. And I don't want to take the time on Monday musings to do that because I do my best to keep these a little shorter so that they're like little bite-sized chunks of golden nuggets. But I would love to have you share. I really invite you to share something about how you learn to love yourself, or if you're at the beginning of your journey and how you're going about navigating it, especially the internal talk that we like to, we get told so many things. I know I did. I know I did when I was in some really bad relationships. I had some really awful things said to me, and it took me a minute to really embrace the positive aspects about myself because I was so caught up in wondering if those things were true. But then when I looked at them, I'm like, those things aren't true at all. Like that is not who I am. And we get to choose that. We get to choose that. So I'd love to have you share with me in the comments, or you can send me an email if you don't really want your name in the comments or whatever. But yeah, just I invite you to share, and that what you're going through or what you've experienced along your self-love journey may very well inspire someone else to step into their self-love journey, because that's the way this goes. We share things and we're like, oh wow, and if that person could do it and that's where they've been, then I can do it too. I can do it too. And that's such an important message for you to realize is you are enough. You are amazing. You get to step into self-love. You get to embrace who you are and be that amazing you that you are, that's not like anyone else. And why would you want to be a carbon copy of someone else? You are beautiful and enough just as you are. So I invite you to share. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you so much. And I love you. I truly, truly do. And I invite you to love yourself. So That's all I have for you today. Um, Please like, share, and subscribe if you are interested in doing the 12-week self-love journey with me. I know it'll be transformational for you. My website is always in the description box below these videos. Please join the Spiritually Speaking Facebook group where we also have lots of fun things going on in there. If I'm doing any special offers, those are always advertised in there first. And sometimes there are things that are advertised in there or that I have going on in there that aren't put out anywhere else. I usually do some kind of, you know, participation activities, what's the word I'm looking for? Challenges. There we go. Participation challenges. Sometimes I'll do those, and people are starting to be vetted in the group, and they will also be doing some of that stuff too. I don't know. We'll see. But that's where you're going to find it first, is in the Spiritually Speaking Facebook group. So thank you again. Reach out anytime you would like to. DM me, email me, comment in the comments section. I'm always available to interact. I love taking these conversations to the next level. So thank you again. I'm going to get off here for the night, and I will talk to you all again soon. I love you all, and I'll see you again soon.